Hey guys, welcome to the team call. So good to see your faces tonight. All right, I want to pack a lot in and not go a full hour or anything, so I want to go ahead and get rolling. But just thanks to everybody for being here live. I see one or two new names, so welcome to the team call. If this is your first call, just real quick. We do this twice a month, first and third Tuesdays. The opposite Tuesdays, we'll do a live power hour. So basically the hands-on, action-oriented, helping you kind of walk through what it looks like to do the vital behaviors. But a couple times a month, we like to offer some training opportunities. So, so a couple announcements though. Starting next month, I am moving the team call to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I did a poll and it sounded like that was the popular vote by far. So just put that on your radar. Make sure that you're informing your teams. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but when I do that event, when I create the events in Team Phoenix Coaches, it only invites people that I'm friends with. It only automatically invites people that I'm friends with. So if you want to make sure your team is getting a notification for team calls, for any of that stuff in the team page, you're going to want to make sure that you're tagging them, inviting them manually, because it may not grab them when I just do that. So just don't assume that because I put something out there that your people see it. They very well may not. So just help your folks out that way. So that's next week, and one really cool thing going on next month. Oh, hang on, I have some. Let me mute some. There. Next week, we're talking about, we're doing another team call next week. Usually we only have 4 Tuesdays in a month, but when we have 5, we'll have 3 team calls. So we're going to do another team call next Tuesday. And we are going to basically be sharing a launch plan similar to how we did with 2B and with 80 Day Obsession. So Andrea Stevens, who happens to be one of the coaches chosen to be in the test group, the exclusive coach test group, a huge honor, a really great value to us to have a coach on our team who is experiencing it, going through it before it's actually launched. So she's going to be partnering with me to share like a launch plan. So if you're a newer coach and this is all overwhelming, that's okay. This may not be where you need to be focusing right now, but it might be. So talk to your upline coach about the next best step for you. But I know newer coaches getting on these calls and hearing all this stuff, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to know how to do that too. Make sure that you're chatting with your upline about what's the next best thing for you to focus on. But for those of us who have been waiting for Lift, those of us who already have kind of a client base, a following, being able to promote a new program and getting them on early. I mean, there's such hype around a launch of a program. It's such a good way to get your business momentum, and momentum is everything. So if it's just a great opportunity. So definitely take advantage of that if that's appropriate for where you're at in your business right now. Talk to your upline again, but come see us or come to the team call Tuesday night, and we'll give you kind of an action plan. Even more exciting news, the Tuesday following that, we're eliminating the live power hour just for a special reason. Joel Freeman has agreed to do a call for us. So you don't want to miss that. July 13th, Joel Freeman is going to be on the call, kind of partnering with Andrea. I'm inviting my success partner, Sarah Lenore, and her team, because essentially he was like, hey, can I get some numbers on this? So I was like, yeah. Andrea was like, how many can we get on this? Because they want to know. I was like, okay, we can make that happen. So basically, I need y'all to show up. But how cool is that we'll get to hear from the creator himself, Joel Freeman. And yeah, big freaking deal, basically, to get to hear from him the day after. Was it the 12th or the 13th? Whatever that Tuesday is. I gotta look at the calendar. The 12th, I'm sorry. I said the 13th, I'm sorry. So the 12th is that Tuesday, and it's going to be 8:30. That's what worked for him. You know, I'm going to be accommodating to Joel. So that'll be the day after the pre-sale goes live. So briefly, I just want to review that with you guys too. And if you're talking down here in the chat window, I'm sorry, I'm ignoring you. 8 p.m. for both live. Yes, for Stephanie's asking in the future, 8 p.m. Yes, moving forward after today. This might take a little time for us to get on that rhythm. People might forget or not get the memo. That's why I'm saying, please make sure your people know. And just obviously that there's that one, because Joel needed to do 8:30 on the 12th. Well, you know, I think we can be accommodating. Oh, am I breaking up still, Chris? I am. Let me see if I need to shut down some
I don't know if there's any way to fixate it. It's a little frustrating. I don't know, maybe just for me, but I know you're about to throw some like content bombs our way, and we're going to get like every other word from you.
Let me back out and come back in, and y'all can just talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, give me a second to back out, and so oftentimes that works. I come back in with a better signal. I'll close down some windows too and see if that helps. All right, stay tuned.
Molly, she was just saying that the team call time is info group up like we had for 2B Mindset. And so there's nothing like getting in there with all that knowledge with us. So if you can make those calls, set your timer, put it in your calendar.
All right. Here's to hoping we are better connected. How are we looking? Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So a couple dates to have on your calendar, and news that was just shared in the roundtable, which is the leaders group, just 2 hours ago. So this is not even in our back office. I was searching to give you the FAQ to make it easy, but I don't think they even added it. So just so you guys know, and I think somebody mentioned it like in the somewhere, but they got the information wrong because maybe Carl shared on his page. I don't know, but let me just clear it up. There's a before Lift 4. I think Andrea was telling us that Joel was going to be filming these. She just didn't have dates yet because they hadn't decided, but there is a before Lift 4, and this is essentially the sneak peek. So if you did 80-day session, it would be like a little obsessed, ALO. That will be available on June 11th, which is the day that the pre-sale happens. You need a review on what the pre-sale is. Well, the program doesn't launch publicly officially till October 1st, but you can opt in to VIP early access on the pre-sale. And that starts on June 11th, but that early access doesn't begin until July 16th. I know, it's confusing, but just write it down. Write it down. But that's when the before Lift 4 workouts will go live, the little sneak peek. And that is June 11th. And they will be unlocked only when someone purchases the early access pack. So even though they can't, the early access doesn't start until July 16th, I believe, they can get access to the sneak peek, the before Lift 4, as soon as they opt in, as we opt in. And if you guys don't know, we can, as coaches, it's going to, I don't know what the cost is, but basically you're getting like the kit, like the equipment kit, but that can be purchased by your customers with a VOD challenge pack, or if you have VOD customers, they can get the kit too. So hang on. They'll only be accessible via the web. So know that, it's web only. I think after the 16th, when the early access launches, then people can access it through their apps or however, Roku, Apple TV, etc. There's one more thing. This is brand new. Oh, Jessica's saying $39.99 she thinks it is for the early access, just to like opt in for those of us who have everything else. Okay, cool. There's a Fitfomercial that is being offered on June 4th. So next Monday, the Lift 4 Fitfomercial, a L4 workout with Joel, will be in the front of the login screen on BOD. actually clicking on a banner to view it. So no account required to view it. This is one of those where you don't have to have BOD. You can go to Beachbody on demand. You don't have to have an account, but you can access the video Fitfomercial from that screen. This is that great little like soft sell for those people that are curious, but they don't want to create a free membership. They don't want to, yeah, it's just a kind of that like, real easy way to get it in front of somebody. We'll also be making it available for download in the coach office so you can use it in your info groups. I was searching this to see if I could give you guys some, like I said, an FAQ to make it easier to share all this information. Couldn't find this. I'm sure it will be loaded in there soon. But what I did find was a lot of cool stuff that I didn't even know was there. And I just downloaded like 4 little short videos and it's not like the sizzle reels, the highlight reels of the cool like commercials. It's like Joel talking to the camera about like lifting myths and like it's really cool. It's like what we would share in an info group. So guys, go explore what your back office holds for us. They give us so much stuff to share information and to promote. Like we have a tendency to like ask people in the team page and ask for uplines when the back office has so much stuff. So go in there and check it all out because my mind is blown. I haven't had a chance to even to check it all out. So I'm excited. You're at Jessica, you're saying you wish there was something that was available for free. Yeah. I'm guessing it's just going to be that one workout. Yeah, so far, but things change. Okay. Woo. Okay. I want to get this out of the way. Announcements, team call next week, team call with Joel. Oh, there's a sneak peek into coaching tomorrow that we're offering. If you're not familiar with that, basically it's a group where you can add your prospects, and I'm partnering with 6 or 7 other coaches, and we're going to go live and share a little bit of our story. Really cool dynamic we had last time was actually a Zoom call like this, but it shared Facebook Live within the team page, within the group. So people actually got to see us interacting and talking, and like they could see this community dynamic, which was really neat. I have a Zoom software that allows me to do that. So even if you don't have anybody to add yet, maybe you're a new coach and you just want to like get a sense of what this looks like, join the group, get familiar, watch watch us engage. I don't know, just being familiar with how others share the business opportunity is never bad to learn from others and how they talk about coaching. It helps you to be more comfortable sharing coaching with people. And then maybe you'll be brave and help me host next time. Shout out to Katie Root, who's a new coach and just hopped on. She's new. Brent's Bacon new pretty much. And she's just, took the leap and was like, I'm going to just do it. So good for her. Okay. Ooh, I'll take a breath. So tonight, thank you, Molly, for sharing the group link. I appreciate that. Okay. So tonight I titled the call, The Art of the Invite, Attract, Connect, Invite. Some of you might be aware that this is actually the topic of my summit presentation. This is the topic that was shared with me or given to me. I was invited to speak on this at Summit. I'm partnering with Angie Belmare. I've never spoken on the stage in this capacity before, and so I'm definitely really nervous. Not that I don't feel like I know this topic, not that I don't feel like this is something that I am super familiar with and know really well, but education, articulation, this is not my strong suit. Somehow I manage team calls without looking completely, moronic, but it's not something that I, super confident in. So what I was hoping to do today was to kind of allow you guys to be my like dry run of a lot of the content that I want to share. And it's not going to be quite what the presentation will be at all. I have an outline, but I'm doing it with somebody else, a partner. So it's going to be one-sided, and I'm probably going to be sharing some things that I won't share on stage that won't be as appropriate, I think, for the stage. But I'm looking for feedback. I'm looking for coaches because I have the context that I have. I've been a coach for 5 years. I would love to hear from some of you who are newer at coaching, who could give me some insight into what you think, coaches really want to hear or know, or if something doesn't make sense. I mean, Megan, you mentioned this, but I need a little bit, I don't even know what that is. And will your audience know that? So I am basically asking for a favor tonight for you guys to give me your I mean, you don't have to judge my execution because, like I said, this is a real dry run. There's not a lot of organization to it. But in terms of the content, I want to know what people want to know. And if there's something that I'm speaking about, you'd like me to I would rather hear more about this. I think coaches would get more value out of that. So could I ask for your honest, constructive criticism tonight, or really just obviously, the goal tonight will be for me to share with you. Obviously, this is training, but I am looking for some feedback if you guys wouldn't mind helping me out there, because this is a really uncomfortable thing for me, talking on stage. I'm honored to have this opportunity. I'm flattered that they would put this topic in my hands and put me on a stage to train the entire network, because I'm speaking 3 different times to every coach that's coming through a workshop. So that's terrifying. But I got this, and I say yes and figure things out later. And it's a growth opportunity. So that's what you do, right? You just do it. You say yes. Okay. All right. So I have some notes over here, so don't mind me if I'm looking over off to La La Land, but I'm actually looking at my other monitor. All right. So I really love that they gave this to me and Angie, me particularly, because of all the topics that you could talk about to train the network, to train an entire multi-level marketing network on, to give me inviting. This was the most terrifying thing for me coming in to coaching. It's what kept me from becoming a coach for so long. It's what kept me stalling from coaching. I was just not that confident, bold, charismatic, super outgoing people person. And this was so scary to me. And it took me a while to get my bearings. And so I think it's funny that it was given to me. But on the flip side, I think it's pretty cool, because I think what that says is anybody can do it. If Megan Eggleston, who was a hot mess of terror coming in, could figure this out and have success, not just a little success, but grow a really successful business that's continuing to grow, that means nobody has an excuse about not figuring it out. You can be shy, self-conscious, introverted, and all of that, and still have success. So I think that should be encouraging to anybody that comes to Summit, because of course they see these people who seem to be so amazing. They just came out of the womb confident and awesome, but that's just not the real life. And I know for me, I just thought sales was icky. But what I learned was that when done well and when done properly, sales should never be manipulative or pushy. And basically a great salesperson, and sorry, I'm just going to call us salespeople because we're just going to get over the fact that, oh yes, we don't sell, we share. Yes. I say that, we say that. But at the end of the day, there's a transaction. And so a great salesperson simply serves their customers by filling a need. And I know a lot of, maybe coaches who haven't been around as long can be intimidated. Well, of course, the coaches who've been around for a while have the advantage of they know the programs, they have a good following, they have credibility. So a lot of coaches, I think, think they need to bend over backwards to do this. They feel like they have to overserve and jump through more hoops to do this. And I want to caution you against that, because you're setting yourself up for failure, to not own the expert that you are in your own story, because that is, if you ever doubt that you have the ability and the competence, the competencies to do this, you are an expert in your story. Nobody can take that away from you. You can share about that authentically and confidently. at the end of the day, people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So, we're going to start with that. Okay. Again, this is dry run. I'm going to be looking a lot at the notes that I've mind dumped on a page. So a lot of this topic is Beachbody wants us to kind of share a contrast of what is working now, as opposed to what maybe used to work. And a lot of people kind of stay set in their ways. So it's kind of like 2018, what's working. And you're going to see, for those of you who are at Summit, that Angie and I are going to share a before after of how we used to post on social media and to invite and how we do now. And of course it was this tacky, super tacky stock photo of T25. And she had a similar one of P90X3 or something like that. I don't know what it was. But what you'll notice is when we look back at those, they were not really good. They were kind of tacky and not personal, but we figured it out. And the difference that I think that helped us to be successful is that we didn't care. We just kept, she calls it, we earned as we learned. So we sucked at first. And we have examples of that sucking, but we just kept seeing what works. We kept posting, we kept trying. We didn't stop. We made mistakes and we learned what was working, what people were responding to and what they weren't. Obviously we just don't do the stock stuff. We don't share Beachbody lingo. We've talked a lot about this. We do, we focus more on curiosity marketing. We try not to talk about Beachbody, naming of products. I encourage you guys to not even talk about Lift 4 with those words. I mean, in your inside conversations, in your inside, maybe your, sorry, I'm going off because this is what I can do on a team call. But in your challenge groups right now, you can talk about Lift 4. They're already in your world. They know you're a Beachbody coach. On social media, I still don't even say 80-day obsession out loud. Usually, I'll say 80-day transformation, my undiet group, my mindset nutrition group. I discourage that. I think you have a little more leeway with the launch because you want to make sure people know that you're Beachbody, and when they hear about this new Beachbody thing, they associate with you. But you've got to be really careful about just promoting these products and their names because it puts the value around Beachbody and not around you. And then you're already you're losing people because they can go get Beachbody anywhere. So anyway, we keep the stock stuff down here. But then we have an example of how a great little challenge group post. Hang on. So one of the things I said is that if you get one thing out of this presentation today, it's this. Don't wait for guidance, answers, your upline, the next training to start, or to boldly share what you know is an amazing product or opportunity. Inviting is this business. If you are not inviting, you do not have a business. You're posting on social media, you're even just connecting, that will not grow your business. Your awesome call to action invites, that will not grow your business. People are not going to come to you. You cannot wait till you know everything. You cannot wait till you get through. I think it's fine if you're in new coach training and you want to wait to the end of training. You don't have to though. Don't wait for your upline to tell you to run a free group. Don't wait for your upline to invite you to do a challenge group with her. It's not her responsibility. we're going to do the best we can. Yes. But don't wait for the right answers. There isn't one. The best thing you can do is to just go help people and offer what you have. There's a reason you're here. It's because you believe in it, because it did something for you. So if you believe that's true, then there's no reason you should hold back on sharing it till you get it right. That's pretty much. And so what you'll see at Summit is Angie and I, we're both so different. That's why I say there's no right way. Angie and I run our businesses. Our social media looks different. Our invites even look different. She's very much, if you look at her Instagram, she's amazing at visuals, and she just creates a beautiful feed, and she pretty much enrolls everyone as a coach. She leads with the opportunity. She's a great job at it. I don't know how in the world she does it. It's an anomaly to me, but that's her passion. She looks at me and says, I don't know how you have independent coaches. She's like, I handhold all of mine. She's like, none of them do their things themselves because they wait for me. I'm like, so like we just have a different strengths, and we own those and we honor those. And because we own, we're fulfilled by it because it's what makes us lit up. So basically, when it comes to attracting, we both have challenge groups to fill and we have a coaching business to invite to. So you're inviting to two different things. Because this is the way I lead, or because the way I grow my business is what you're going to hear from me while I'm going to train you. But something at the end of the day might be different for you. I lead with the challenges. I lead with fitness. I don't lead with the opportunity. It's not wrong. It's just my best coaches, the coaches that I have that have the best success on this team are those who have fallen in love with the products and the community. They didn't think most of them didn't even think they would coach at all. They just fell in love with the support and the encouragement, the like-minded women together. It lifted them up. They had transformations with the programs, and then they later decided to coach. That's what keeps them involved. That's what keeps them in. And when I talked to Angie, because we like share tips and ideas, I'm like, I think that's why they're independent, because they came to it because of what it did for them, like internally, not like, they didn't approach it like they just need to run a business. So they're loyal to this. They're lifers. They bleed Beachbody Blue. So they're not looking for, me to walk them through every step. They're leading authentic heart for this. So, that's how you're going to hear me training you. But you have the prerogative to lead with coaching. You won't see a ton of coaching posts from me. I talk about it, but some of you might really want to crush this business building side, and you're going to lead with the opportunity. I don't think a lot of you will, but that is, that's what her strength is. So getting to know your strengths, I think, is really important. We tend to look around us too much. We tend to see what others are doing and assume that she's successful, so I'm going to follow her steps. I'm going to follow her lead. You have to be really careful, because they can be inspiration for you, but they're not you, and their strengths are not your strengths, and their weaknesses are not your weaknesses. So be really careful about how much time you spend watching other coaches. I'm going to call people out on the stage. I'm going to say, I see so many of your names up in my Insta stories every day. It's one thing for my own team, because I know I'm your leader, but when I see like other coaches in the network, I'm like, y'all have to have better things to do than to watch my stories. You need to be growing your business. That's every coach's like biggest complaint. I don't have time for my business. But I see so many of them stalling and distracting themselves, looking for inspiration in other coaches, or just looking for, that's where they spend their time. And so I want to caution you, if you find yourself doing that on social media, I don't know what to post, or, so you find yourself just following rock stars and other coaches who you admire. Again, there's a time and place for that, but and I did this, I made the same mistake, but it keeps you from knowing who you are. And like, I would do this with posts. I'm like, I don't know what to say. I'm not a good talker. Words are not my gift. So I find myself trying to be inspired by someone else's, and I would sit there for like 30 minutes, literally looking for like inspiration from somebody else. And I'm like, this is stupid. Whatever stupid thing I could say in like 3 sentences will still be better than me taking her like long, beautiful post and trying to make it my own. Because it's not me. Even if I do attract from it, like, that's not me that I'm inviting people to. And so I want you to just really trust yourself. You're enough. You're okay. And if you're trying to attract people to someone else, then like, you're already losing. So don't. And you're going to find how awesome you really are. You're going to build so much confidence when you realize people actually do care what you have to say. It's just we doubt ourselves too much. And I get it. Like I get it. Like I still have the same struggles, but like I'll find myself just like, Megan, just stop overthinking it. It's called paralysis by analysis. Stop it. You're paralyzed. You spend a half an hour and you haven't actually done the real deal. And that's inviting. Like actually asking someone to join your team. It's the worst use of our time to like spend 30 minutes writing a post when you're better off just sending out 10 invites to people that you've connected with. That's actually going to grow your business, not the perfect Facebook post that 16% of your followers actually see. I'm not saying that it's not important. Social media is super important, but it is only the first part of the attract, connect, invite. That is the attracting. And even connecting, it's sort of connecting, but real connecting comes when you actually start commenting on people's posts, liking their post, getting up in their inbox, in their DMs, getting to know them, asking questions in their posts. That's the connecting. The invite is not your call to action post. That's a great way to start the invite process. But really that social media post that you put out to say, hey, I'm doing XYZ group, want to join me? That's more to remind people on a monthly basis what you do and what you have. Not really to fill your inbox with interested parties, because that's just not real life. Even for me, even for a coach who's established and blah, 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 blah. My inbox is not blowing up with people who just saw posts and want to sign up with me. I have to actually put out an invitation. I actually have to personally, people don't love mass invites. They want to feel special. Okay, I'm a little bit off. Yeah, sorry, I'm going to do a little bit off the cuff for the team. So Angie she's going to take over and talk about this whole thing of, I don't want to sell. So I just kind of have some of her bullet points. I'm not going to go into this because I did have it prepared. This is not my slide. But she, some of her tips were, just think about it like you're speaking to a friend. So often I'll have someone say, hey, what would you say back? They want a script. I'm like, what would you say to a friend? What would you say to anybody? Like, okay, let's think about this. If you were not a coach and you didn't stand to earn money from this, how would you answer this question? They'll be like, lock up all of a sudden. It's like, oh, I don't want to feel like a salesperson. Just forget the fact that like this is a business. Like, what's the legit like way you would talk about this? Like, that's what people want to know. They want you to be real. If you're asking for a script, it's going to sound like a script. So just think about you're speaking to a friend. Don't overthink it. Just start. And she says, let your biggest excuse be your driving force and reason why. So like the very fact that you're terrified to invite somebody, let that be like, dang it, this is not cool. This is not cool that I am so concerned with my own self-image that I cannot authentically share something valuable. Like, that's what I came down to. You're being selfish right now. Get over yourself. So I let that be like a driving force for me. And then she talks about, how to reverse engineer the goals of Success Club. If you want to hear more about that, come on to Summit, and Angie will rock your world with how she reverse engineers Success Club goals. But essentially, she's going to tell you, you're going to have to talk to a crap ton of people to actually get 3 people to sign up. It's going to sound something like this. I'm sure she'll do it better. But again, we're talking about playing to your strengths. Angie loves YouTube. She is a rock star with YouTube and video. So that's how she invites a lot of people. That's how she attracts a lot of people. Not my thing. I lead with fitness, but that makes sense because I'm a fitness girl. I have, that's my background. My coaches come in, they might think that's the right way because that's what I do. But unless you're a fitness expert or a fitness trainer, that may not be how you go about it. We have to share fitness as part of our life, but you don't automatically become a fitness expert because you're a coach. I just happen to have that background. So think about what are those things that are your gifts. Molly is a teacher. Maybe, she has a gift for taking, information and sharing it, articulating it in a way that's manageable and easily to consume and like regurgitate. Like, that's not a gift of mine. But, and I'm just kind of throwing things out there. I think about, Ashley Kosmicki. She's a nurse and she's a Disney girl. So I see her like, I'm loving you lately. You're like nurse quote of the day. Is she on right now? Okay, they're hilarious. If you're not Ashley, yesterday, I'm not sure which day it was, but it was like, she's had like a new one every day, it seems like, I don't know. And one was like, nurse quote of the day, whoops, wrong hole. And I was like, that's hilarious. Whatever. And Ashley has a sense of humor. She has an off sense of humor. She's a little weird. I mean, like, I'm sort of kidding, but I'm not. She's quirky, but that's a strength. Her quirky friends like that. You know, that's a gift that, you know, she gets to share. So think about what are those things that, if you are really visual, the visual arts are fun for you. You know, maybe you will rock your world to do an Instagram feed that is like super monochromatic and visually eye-catching, and that's great. Whatever gets you excited and whatever you kind of like enjoy doing, do more of it. That will keep this fun and fulfilling for you. I geek out on fitness, like so that's what works for me. So spend more time learning who you are than trying to mirror somebody else. And stop watching everyone else's story and start building your own story. So develop you and develop your brand rather than searching for it in everybody else. Okay. All right. We do go into sharing your story and your brand. I'm going to keep this brief because we talk about this a lot in our team. But just to kind of, for those of you who are newer to this, when we think about our brand and our message, some questions that you want to write these down if these are not questions you've asked yourself. You know, what have you ever overcome? What passions do you have? What do you struggle with? What do you get asked most? What are you most proud of? What do you nerd out over? Who wants to share something? I'd like to hear someone share like something that they struggle with that's become part of their brand. Or maybe you're newer, you haven't really thought about it. Molly says overcoming confidence, okay? And so how Molly might share that part of her story is she can talk about specific instances where she lacked confidence. And so it's not, I think it can be a little vague when we just say, I used to struggle with confidence, but now I'm here. To be able to like give people a visual story that they can relate to, maybe talking about the one time you stood up in front of the class and you puked. Whatever. It's just something that people, you pull them into a story. Oh shoot, I wish I had, do I have this? So failure, Ashley says, we all have them and feel ashamed, but we shouldn't. They are life lessons. Martha says, beating perfectionism, clothes, sobriety for Chris. Being able to share little pieces of storyline. Okay, for example, I'm on a call with, is she here? Jamie, I'm not sure how to say her last name, Vasile, it's Vasile. She's a newer coach, and we had our Getting Started Right call today. And I just started to ask her about her fitness journey and like when she got into fitness and why, and her short-term goals. And did I say that? I hope I did. But she started talking, and I started like taking these notes, and I was like, oh my gosh, Jamie, like this is your brand. This is part of your story. This is the kind of stuff you want to talk about. Okay, so I have her notes. I don't think she'll mind. But she talked about, oh yeah, when I was 15 or 16, I just had bad body image, and I just worked out kind of to punish myself. And she struggled with food and had a negative relationship with food. She like would run for punishment. And then later on, she actually began to learn more about exercise and then developed a more healthy relationship. And then she says, yeah, she's like, it's still kind of an addiction to work out, but really it's a positive one because I no longer, it's not punishment anymore. I get to do it. And I was like, ooh, listen to yourself right there. I was like, so many people can relate to this. Like, it's no longer a punishment. You get to do it. This is the kind of stuff you want to talk about. And then I asked her, why did she get involved with this if your fitness is your thing? And she's like, well, she'd recently taken on too much at work. She's a, full-time corporate work hustler. She's a hard worker. And she just kind of has been taking on all these different responsibilities, and she had been neglecting herself and not prioritizing. So these challenge groups gave her that support and that accountability to prioritize herself. And coaching, she said she wanted something for her. So then she was saying, but yeah, this has helped me to stay consistent. I was like, this is part of your story. These things that you think are no big deal, they are your story. Talk about these. Talk about how man, I needed this because I was overscheduled and I was not allowing time for myself. This, forced me to prioritize these things that we just think are boring, or like everyone gets, this is nothing special. It's very special. It is very much what's going to draw your tribe in when they can relate to your very struggles. What else did she say? That was really good. I was talking to her about, how do your friends feel about your lifestyle? I mean, are they super fit too, or are you like the oddball out? Because we're a lot alike, me and this girl. I could like really relate to her. I'm always the weird one, and she's like, oh yeah, they're always doing stuff after work, and they're like asking me to go to whatever happy hour, but I've already made a plan to go to the gym, and like they think it's kind of weird or whatever. She's like, but I won't cancel plans on myself. And I was like, hang on, say that again. You won't cancel plans on yourself. I was like, why? And then she went into story, and she's like, but I used to. I was like, well, why? Why did you used to? And it's because it had to do with whatever, confidence. But I want you to like think about these things. They are very important to your story, and they're very important to be putting out there in social media form, in your conversations. They seem like nothing, but they are something. That is what's going to attract your person to stop the scroll and be like, yeah, I get that. I get her. So anyway, and even like sometimes, I don't know if you guys do this. Yes, you do. We all do it. Negative self-speak. We have these things we say to ourselves. And I've learned to catch myself. And I stop and I analyze, like, why am I saying that? What is it? Is there something in my past? Is there something that happened that this stems from? This doubt, this insecurity. It used to just be like nothing, like kind of like subconscious, but now I've become really conscious. And the more conscious I become of these limiting beliefs, these doubts, these words I speak, the more I understand me, and I'm able to articulate that publicly to relate and connect to people. Okay, hang on. Let me look at the chat window, make sure I'm not. Emotional eating, Mary, yes. Chris says your struggle is everything. Sharing that story is how you connect with people. Yes. So Donald Miller, if you're familiar with him, maybe you're not. So Donald Miller is the author of a book called StoryBrand, and he has a whole business called StoryBrand. And I had the privilege of hearing from him at EntreLeadership Summit, a conference last week. And this stuff is so genius, and we don't have a whole lot of time to go into it, but he basically helps people to develop their stories. And he tells us that there's 7 different components to every story. Almost every movie that you go to will look something like this. It has a character with a problem that meets a guide who has a plan that calls them to action that results in either success or failure. He says, story is a sense-making device. So story is what makes sense for people. It takes, where is it? Oh, these notes. So good. He talks about how we're trying, like, we can easily try to promote this solution to an external problem. So 2B mindset, it'll help you lose weight. Okay, so not really good. It doesn't really connect with anybody. We need to speak to the internal problem. The solution to so it's a solution to an internal problem. And that's where a lot of us, can miss the mark, is not addressing the internal problem. Or not speaking to it to help someone connect. They know they have to lose weight. But when you start speaking to Mary, maybe, that time your boyfriend broke up with you and you ate an entire pizza. I'm just making stuff up, y'all. I don't know. But that's what people connect to. He says, story is what keeps people turning the pages. It's what keeps people's butt in a seat for 2 hours. So he likes to talk about how we develop our story. Here's the key, though, in this story brand. You have a character with a problem. He meets a guide. You are not the hero. The guide, you're the guide. You want to make sure that your character is the hero. And I see this missed a lot in a lot of coaches who create more of like a fandom. You want people to feel like they're the hero, not you. And you're going to save the day for them. We have this group. You're going to, and again, this is something we can dig into another time, but I just want you to think about this as you share and how you want people to feel like the hero of their story. And how they will identify as the victor and not a victim. Okay. I could go so far into this, but we'll do that another day. Okay. All right. What's next? So Angie's going to go into talking about how to, like, some of her tips, like practical tips on inviting on Instagram. And she talks about, I'll kind of give you a brief overview, but she calls, she has a 5-3-1 rule. Maybe some of you use it. Basically, you find somebody on social media, on Instagram, and you like 5 of their posts. You do 3 comments and 1 follow. She does this 20 times a day. Basically, she's starting to, build connections, and whoever seems to like align with her will follow her back. And now they've started a relationship. She'll talk about polls on Instagram that she uses to invite. Something that I do is, comment below if you want a recipe. If you saw that I posted something today, it was a picture of dessert with Daily Sunshine. You can tell that I on purpose didn't put the recipe because I want people to ask me the question. So I have basically an open invitation into their inbox. And it's easy. I didn't have to warm them up. It was like I had an open invitation into their inbox. Oh, Sue says, you want to hear more about the victim versus victor? Okay. Yeah, that's a good topic. We'll do that. She'll talk about doing giveaways, how she does giveaways. She's really good at that stuff. It's not my jam, but I'd love to learn it. And I think we all benefit from it. And she'll talk about using testimonials and transformations. All right. I get to talk more about conversation starters, creating more opportunities to invite. So I'm just going to dump some of this out here. This is one of the biggest struggles that I feel like coaches share with me is they don't know who to invite. They just feel stuck with how to get conversations going or who to talk to. And they just feel limited, and they keep talking to the same people over and over again. And those same people, they're not doing anything. They're not going to. Sorry. You stay in touch with them, but just recognize those people that you keep asking, and you don't grow your network and you don't talk to more people. You've got to figure out how to create more relationships and get more started. So here are a couple of the ideas I use. One is the recipe put. Recipes are so good. When it's something that looks super yummy and sexy, but you just kind of tease, that's great for me. People who are liking your posts, these are people who are too afraid to do anything. That is, hey, look at me. I'm scared to actually be assertive, but I'm kind of half acting like I'm half interested, but I need you to kind of help me. I need your confidence in me because I don't have it. So if you're not taking advantage of the people who are liking your posts and getting those conversations going, just talking to them, and you're missing a huge opportunity. So another thing I do is I intentionally start getting into people's inboxes, because when I'm using Facebook Messenger stories, maybe not everybody sees your stories on Facebook Messenger, but if you message somebody just to say, hey, how's it going? Or, hey, I saw you on your baby's beautiful, whatever. You can just do anything to open up their inbox. Your story now becomes they have opportunity to like, oh, she's actually doing a story, and they'll like tap on it. So whereas someone may not have had the opportunity to see what you did that day, maybe they don't follow stories or whatever, because you've now messaged them, it puts that opportunity right in their eyes. So this is good. The more people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if they are not seeing your stuff, they do not have an opportunity to know, like, or trust you. So you get to create that by being intentional, by hacking it. If you guys don't know this, I know a lot of you people have been around know this, but the Facebook algorithms, you gotta like work those. You've got to hack the Facebook algorithms. Facebook has certain formulas to decide what it shows to people, whose posts it shows to people. And it's those who seem the most relevant to them. So how do you make yourself relevant? You like, you comment, you message, you are intentionally engaging. If there are people on your list that you would love to get involved, make sure you are constantly, without being like obnoxious and weird, making sure that you are constantly keeping a relevance so that Facebook knows to keep serving up your stuff. So you've got to actively do that. You can't just put up a post a day and assume that every single follower is seeing it. They aren't. Facebook's serving up a certain percentage, and it decides based on on those algorithms. So hack it. Stephanie says, a ton of people who've just congratulated me on my process. It's so confusing when 9 out of 10 people congratulate and don't want more info. Stephanie, so you mean, did you have like a transformation photo? Do you want to open up or unmute? I'd love to hear your question. Oh, you're muted. Hang on. Sorry. So you posted.
The question was, I post like my progress as I'm promoting the 2B, and pretty much everyone likes or comments just congratulating me on like my progress,
Yeah.
but doesn't want to know anything at all about the program.
So you mean you've asked them if they wanted to know more and they said no?
Yes.
So you mean like, you like personally message and said, hey,
Yeah.
Thanks for liking my post. What do they say?
They just say like that they congratulate that I've lost so much weight and that I'm looking good, but they just don't have time for it, or they're not interested in it at this time. And it's like everybody.
Okay.
And it's not just like one person here and there. It's pretty much everybody.
And that's okay. The fact is that they liked it, and there's an interest. Most people they're not ready. They just don't think that they can do it. So put those people on your list. You have something you're tracking. Just be sure these are people that you're staying in touch with. You're just continuing to interact with them. They just know that you're there. They will continue to see your stuff. And when there's going to be a day, they just can't stand it anymore. Everybody gets there. Everybody gets there to a breaking point. This isn't working. And you want Stephanie to be the person they think of, because you've been there for them. You didn't harass them about it. You didn't try to convince them into a sale, but you believed in this and you followed through with it, and you continue to show up and you continue to get results, and you didn't gain it back. They're going to see that. And then when the time comes that they've had it, they've had enough, they've tried other things, and they've spent $160 on Starbucks, Haagen-Dazs, booze, whatever. And there's going to be a time when, you're going to be the person they go to, because now they're ready to invest. So don't be discouraged. The fact that people are congratulating you, that's great. There are people that care. There are people who are in your network that took the time to even celebrate you. So I would be willing to bet you some of these people in the future will be in your challenge groups. Just don't forget about them. Don't just say, oh, they're not interested, let me move on to the next person. Those are some great people to stay in touch with. Yes, I mean, Martha said 3.5 years later, and here they are. Martha speaking from experience. We can, all of us who've been around for, if you've been around for 6 months, you see this happening. The first few people you talk to, you're like, oh, no, I could never do that, or I don't have time, I don't have money. They're the same people who months later will show up like, oh, girl, I've been trying this and I need some help. So be committed, be consistent, Yeah. Yeah, some people are, yep, sad that they waited. They finally gave in. Thanks for sharing, Stephanie. I think I'm glad you spoke up, because I think a lot of coaches feel really discouraged in the beginning stages, and they do give up, and they do assume that no one wants this because they put up this vulnerable post, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I just poured my heart out. That was really hard, and now nobody wants to join me. This sucks. But if you stop there, like, you are missing a huge opportunity. You've planted a seed in so many people's heads. It's a seed planted that can sprout, but only if you continue to water it. So I encourage you to stay in touch. Okay. I gotta cut this. Okay, I'm gonna cut the rest of this out. Most of it's Angie stuff, and this is getting too long. So what Angie and I are doing, this was Angie's idea because she's done this a few times. She's a pro at this. She rehearses this once they get their presentation pulled together with the slides and everything, like perfect. They do it for a small group of coaches. And so she's, I'll let you guys know. I mean, she selects them. They have to be like they earn Success Cup for the month or something. I don't know how she does it. I'll keep you posted. But once we get our actual polished good stuff pulled together with her awesome stuff, I'll keep you posted on that. But it's late. I don't want to keep you much longer. But after we hop off, if you wouldn't mind sharing any feedback on topically what you feel like you want to know or hear or expand on in the event, that would be good. That would be helpful to me. But was this helpful? Anybody have aha moments? Anything that they want to like implement or take action on right away? You want to share it in the chat? I'd love to hear. Anything that just like, oh, that was a great idea. I want to, I should do that. I want to hear maybe part of your brand or your story that you haven't been sharing that you realize, oh my gosh, why am I not talking about it? I want to hear the chat. We have a minute. Molly says she forgets to comment and like on people's posts. Anybody else? Or is it that dull? Several aha moments, good. All right, well, I'll wait for your feedback. Good, I'm glad that was helpful, thank you. All right, good, I'm so glad. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I would appreciate your feedback if you don't mind, sharing in that event. But have a great night, guys, and I'll see you all next week to share the Lift for launch strategy. Cool? All right, have a great night.